this video, we're going to focus on solving linear inequalities. We're going to focus on different types. We'll do one step, we'll do some two-step, we'll do some multi-step, which includes the distributive property. So yeah, let's just roll with it. All right, so first things first, we need to talk about how do you solve an inequality. And I think the best way to describe it is to compare it to how we solve an equation. Now, remember, we solve an equation, we're trying to solve for the variable, get the variable by itself, so we use inverse operations. Well, guess what? Solving an inequality is almost just like solving an equation. Except one big thing, except. And I'll put that in big letters and underline it, so pay attention. Except when you multiply or divide by a negative, or divide by a negative number. This is key. Flip the inequality sign. So if I multiply or divide by a negative number, flip the inequality sign. We'll talk about why we do that in class, but I just want to really jump into some examples for you here. Okay? All right, so we're just going to do some examples. All right, first one, let's do some one step. 8 plus x is less than or equal to negative 9. I'm going to subtract 8 on both sides. That cancels out, so I get x is less than 17. Or, remember, that's the same thing as 17 is greater than or equal to x. All right, here's another example of a one-step equation. Negative 15p is less than 60. Here I need to divide by negative 15. I'm dividing by a negative number. So that means what? I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to put my p down here, but I'm going to flip that sign. Instead of it being less than, it'll become greater than, and I'll have p is greater than negative 4. Which is the same as negative 4 is less than p. All right, so that's what I meant about multiplying or dividing by a negative, flip the inequality sign. Let's move on to two-step equations. Remember, with two-step equations, there are two things we need to get rid of, or we need to actually take 2 steps to get the variable alone. 12 is greater than negative 2x minus 6. Well, I'm going to go ahead and add 6 on both sides to get rid of the 6. I get 18 is greater than negative 2x. Now I need to divide by negative 2. Since I'm dividing by a negative, my sign will change from greater than to less than negative 9. Or x is greater than negative 9. All right, here comes another one. Negative x divided by 2 plus 3 is less than 7. So I subtract 3 on both sides. I get negative x over 2 is less than 4. And to get rid of that 2 in the denominator, since I'm dividing, I'm going to multiply by negative 2. That'll cancel out my 2's and my negative signs. And I get x is greater than negative 8. Why did I flip that sign? Because I multiplied by a negative number. All right, those are your two-step inequalities. I'm going to be doing that this whole time. All right, so let's move to the big ones, multi-step. So we have to do many steps to get rid of these. So let's see. 2 times x minus 4 is less than or equal to 6. I'm going to use the distributive property and distribute the 2. I get 2x minus 8 is less than or equal to 6. Go ahead and add 8 to both sides. Get 2x is less than or equal to 14. Divide by a positive 2 on both sides. Since it's positive, I don't have to flip anything. And I get x is less than or equal to 7, which is the same as 7 is greater than or equal to x. All right, let's do another one. I'm going to just scroll on down. Okay, what about this one? Negative 4m minus 32 equals 28 plus m. Oops, I said equals. No. We're on inequalities. Don't make the same mistakes I'm making. Let's do is greater than or equal to. So, just like an equation, I need to move some things around by doing the opposite since they're on opposite sides. This cancels. I get negative 4m is greater than or equal to 60 plus m. I'm going to subtract m on both sides. And I get negative 5m is greater than or equal to 60. Okay. We'll go ahead and divide by negative 5 on both sides. Notice I'm dividing by a negative. So what does that mean? It means I need to flip the sign. So it'll be m is less than or equal to negative 12. And our last example, the biggest one. Negative 2 times x plus 3 is less than 4x minus 7. Go ahead and distribute your negative 2. Negative 2x minus 6 is less than 4x minus 7. We need to get our terms together, so I'm going to add 6 on both sides. You don't have to, but you can. Negative 2x is less than 4x plus negative 1 or minus 1. Let me just put a minus 1. Minus 1. Now I need to get all my x's on the same side, so I'm going to subtract 4x. And I get negative 6x is less than negative 1. Divide by negative 6 on both sides. Since I'm dividing by a negative, my sign has to flip. So the less than will become a greater than sign. And I get x is greater than 1/6. There you go.